Hello friends and welcome to Microsoft Advanced Excel Training. This is Ramzan Rajani and in this video you will be learning all about validation. First I will explain you entire validation options and after explaining we will do the practical together. So make sure you have the validation.xls file ready with you on your desktop or on a shared drive. So first, now you will not open any file. First you will see the entire explanation and after completion of the explanation I will request you to open the file and then we will do the practical together. So let's start with the validation. So I'm going to desktop and opening a file with the name validation, which is under Excel training folder. So I'm opening the folder and I'm going to open the validation file. So I'm double clicking on this file and my file is ready. So what is validation? For example, if you have a file with the name customer service report and in this if you have a column with the name mobile number and if you want person not to enter number of characters more than 10 in this column, then how you restrict that? So for example, you want person not to type more than 10 characters over here. Also he should not type less than 10 character, means he should type only 10 character of mobile number over here. So how do you do this type of restriction? We will also see how to create the drop down menu in the caller country so that person don't have to type the names of the country, he can just select it from the drop down list. In the third step we will also see about the sales column. If you want person not to enter more than 100 rupees or more than 1000 rupees in the sales column, how do you restrict that? Let's get started. So the first step is always selection. So I am selecting the cells in which I want to do the restriction. After selecting the cell, you will go to data ribbon. Remember, in Excel 2003, in the older version, we were saying it as menus. We were saying it as file menu, insert menu, edit menu. Here we say it as ribbon. So here this is home ribbon, this is insert ribbon and this is the data ribbon. So here you will go to data ribbon and in data ribbon you will get an option data validation. So you have to click on data validation and here you will get an option data validation. The first option you have to select. As soon as you click on this, you will get this dialog box. Over here, if you want person not to type more than 10 characters. So here in allow any value, you will click on any value and you will say allow only this text length. So you will click over here on text length and over here data between you will say equal to. So you have greater than, less than, you have less than, equal to. As per your requirement you can select. In this example I am selecting equal to. So allow text length equal to 10. So I am just typing 10. Done. So only 3 settings you have to do. In allow text length, in data you will say equal to and in length you will say allow only 10 characters only and over here you will say okay. What is this input message and error alert? This I will explain you in the next example where we will be doing the sales column restriction. So I will say text length equal to and length equal to 10 and just say okay, your work is done. Now let's see after typing the 10 characters of mobile number. So these are 10 characters. I am pressing enter, it will accept. But if person types more than 10 characters, let's check. So these are 12 characters friends, enter. It will give him an error. So he will not allow a person to enter more than 10 characters. This is very practical and regular used option. Let's see, can a person type less than 10? So I am just typing the 9 characters. These are 9 characters, enter. Again it will give him an error. So if person types 10 character, then only it will accept, otherwise it won't accept. This is the first level of validation, one type of validation. The another type of validation is which we will see in the sales. Now you have a requirement, a person should not enter more than 100 or 1000 rupees in the cell. So you want to do the restriction, person to type value between 1 and 100 only. So the first step always in validation is selection, on which cell you want to do the restriction. So first I will select the cells, then I will go to data, and in data I will say data validation. After going to data validation, I will say setting, allow any value. No, I don't want to allow all the values. I will click on this drop down arrow key and I will say allow only whole numbers. I will click on whole numbers. Here again it will ask you data between. So again, as per your requirement, you can say equal to, not equal to, greater than 100, less than 100, between this, whatever you want you can select. I will say between. So in minimum I will say 1 and in maximum I will say 100. So I want person to type value between 1 and 100 only. Okay. Now what is input message? Input message is nothing but if you want to guide a person before he enters the value, that is the input message. When we will come on the cell, when I will click on the cell, at that time you will come to know exactly how it's look like. So as of now I am saying in title of input message is guide, and in input message I will guide him saying please enter sales between 1 and 100 rupees. If you want you can type your own message also. After typing this I will copy this and I will go to error alert, and in error alert in title I will type error, and in error message I will paste the message which I have copied from the input message. If you want you can type manually also, and in style you will have the option stop. Now once again, so in setting you have selected allow whole number, data between, minimum 1 and maximum 100, and you will just say okay. So your work is done. Now can you see you are getting one small comment saying please enter sales bit. This is the effect of input box. When you click outside you will not get that. As soon as user brings the cursor over here, he will get the guide. So if person types 50, it will accept. By mistake instead of 50 person types 500, and as soon as he presses enter it will give him an error. The error, this is the title which we had given, and this is the error message which we had given. If we say retry, it will allow him to enter the another value. If he say cancel, it will get cancelled. This way friends you can restrict the values from entering the wrong one. Now the third option in the validation is how to create a drop down, which is regular used option. So here I have a column with the name caller country. In caller country I have to type India, UK, US, from wherever the customer calls me. So every time I have to type, sometimes spelling mistake might happen. To avoid this, I can create the drop down in the cells. So the first step is always selection. After selecting the cells, I will go to data, and in data I will get an option data validation. In data validation, I will go to the setting option, that is the setting tab, and in allow any value, I will say allow the list, allow only the list, and in list here it's asking me source. This option is disabled. So here it's asking me the source. So in source you can have two ways. One is you can type manually names of all the country by putting the comma, or you can directly select from the list. So I will explain you both the options. So let's first see how to type manually. So in the source I have clicked over here, and here I will type India, comma UK, comma US, comma Japan, comma China. and I will just say okay. Make sure after names of each country you have to type comma. Here you can have many things, like you can have name of the country, you can have names of the city, you can have your team members name, you can have your product's name, you can have your client names. So many things you can put it over here. This is very useful option. Just say okay and your work is done. Can you see the drop down over here? Click on this drop down and from here you can select the country. Now over here I have typed 5 countries, that is India, UK, US, Japan and China. If person tries to enter any another country, he won't be able to type. So let's say I am typing Paris and press enter. So it will give you an error. Now this was the first method, but if you have a very big list, then for example you have 25 to 30 countries or you have hundreds of products name, you can't type all the products name in that source. Instead of that, you can directly select the source from any of the range. So let me show you how to create a drop down from the range. So first, before that I will remove the validation. So here I have validation effects, I have drop downs. I want to remove this effect. I want to remove the validation effect from this cells. How do I remove that? So the first step is selection. Go to data and over here you get an option data validation. And in data validation, in setting, I will say clear all, bottom left corner. This is the option, clear all, and just say okay. Your validation has been removed. Now you will not see the drop down. So now a person can type anything over here. The validation effect has been removed. Now I am deleting all this 4 text. Now I will show you how to create a drop down by selecting the source from some another column. So now the first step is always selection. After selecting it, I will go to the data menu and the data ribbon, and in data ribbon I will say data validation. In data validation I will go to setting. Over here allow any value. So I will say allow list, and in the source I will select source from here. So I am not typing, I will just select. Also over here friends, instead of selecting this much source, you can select 2 extra cells. What is the benefit? So that in future if you add more countries over here, automatically it will come in a drop down. So this becomes little bit dynamic. And over here I will say okay. Can you see I have selected the source, so here I am getting the range for it, and just say okay, your work is done. I will come here and let's select, so you will get a drop down. So over here I don't have Africa over here, right? So let me type one country, Africa. Now let's check in a drop down if it has come or no. So it has come. So this way you can create the drop down with the help of source. Okay friends, hope you have understood the validation part. Now it's a time for you to practice so that you get hands-on practical experience. So now I will request you to open a validation.xls file from your shared drive or from the desktop, wherever you have saved the file. So let's do it together. So in this I will go very slowly friends, so that you can also do all these steps with me. Let's get started. So either go on your shared drive or go to the desktop and open a file with the name validation.xls. So my validation.xls file is on a desktop in Excel training folder. So I am going to Excel training folder. In that I have a file validation. I will double click on it and I have opened the file. So I will wait for 3-4 seconds or 5 seconds so that you can also open a file, and let's get started together. Hope you have opened the file. Now the first thing in validation is restricting the number of characters. So in mobile number I want person not to type more than 10 character. So So the first step is selection. Let's select together. So you will come on this cell, that is D3, and I am selecting all the cells. This was the first step. After selecting the cells, you will go to data ribbon, which is over here, which is next to formula ribbon. So I will click on data ribbon, and in data ribbon you will get an option validation. Click on validation, you will get this option, and over here in data validation setting, any value. I will say allow this text length. So in allow, please select text length. Data between, instead of between I will say equal to. So allow text which is equal to length 10 characters. So you can read it like this, friends. Allow text which is equal to only of 10 characters, that is 10 length, and just say OK. So in allow you will select text length, in data you will select equal to, in length you will select number of characters that is allowed, that is permitted is 10, and just say OK. Your work is done. Let's check. So you will also check it with me. You can type any mobile number which is of 10 characters and press enter. It will accept. Now let me try and enter the mobile number which is of 11 or 12 characters. You can also type any of the mobile number with some 2 or 3 extra characters, extra numbers. It should give you an error. So this way you can restrict the number of characters. I am saying cancel over here. Now let's do the second option of the validation, that is restricting the sales column. So if I want person not to type sales more than 100 over here, how do I restrict that? So the first step is always selection. Let's select together. So I have selected from G3 to G17. Hope you all are doing with me. After selecting this, again you will go to data and you have an option data validation. In data validation you will go to setting, and in setting over here, that is allow any value, I will say allow only the whole number. So over here in drop down you will select whole number. Data between, so minimum is 1 and maximum is 100. So person will be able to type between 1 and 100 only. You can go to input message also if you want to try. Go to input message and you can write the message over here, that is the guide to the user. Please enter sales between 1 and 100. I will wait for 3-4 seconds so that you can also type this with me. So you have to go to input message and type please enter sales between 1 and 100. If you want to type your own message, you can type your own message as well. After typing this, friends, you can select this and press Ctrl C for copy, so that we can paste the same message in the error alert. There also you can type also, or if you want you can directly copy paste. Now you will go to the third tab, that is error alert, and in error alert you will again click on error message, that is over here, and I am saying Ctrl V because I have already copied. If you want you can type. Again I will wait for few seconds so that if you have not copied the text from input message, you can type it over here. Great. Now I will say OK. So remember, in setting I have selected whole number, data between, minimum 1, maximum is 100, and I will say OK. Your work is done. Can you see this guide? This is the effect of input message which we had entered. So if a person types over here 500, it will accept? No, it won't accept because I have done the restriction of 1 to 100, between 1 to 100. So it will give him an error, and this is the error message which we had given in the validation box. So here if person types with 50, it will accept. If he types 75, accept. By mistake he types 750, he put 10 extra, it will give him an error. So this was restricting the sales column with minimum and maximum value. Now we will do together the third option, that is the creating drop down in the caller country. So this option is very important, friends. Regularly it is used. So make sure you all do together with me. So the first step is always selection. So I am selecting all the cells in the caller country. So I have selected the cells because in all these cells I want to create a drop down menu of different countries. After selecting, you will go to data, and in data you will get an option, data validation. Here is the option. Click on this, and over here again you will go to setting, and in setting allow any value. No, I don't want to allow any value, so I will allow only the list. So here now you have two options, either you type manually or you select it from the list. So let's do selection from the list. So here is my list and let me select it. So I have selected this. I am not selecting 2 rows extra. If you want to try on your own, you can select 2 more rows extra, so that in future if you add more countries, automatically it will come in a drop down. As of now I am selecting till Canada. So here you will get the range. So remember, allow list, and in source I have selected the source, and just say okay, your work is done. And now you click on this, you will get the names of the country. You can just select it. If person tries to enter a different country, that is the Paris, he will give me an error. So this way, friends, you can work with the validation, which is very important. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you have understood the explanation and have also done the practical with me. You can also view my another video in which I have solved many queries related to validation. Thanks everybody and happy learning.